is Labor Day today, and so I wanted to open up with a little Bible quote. So let's see if I can get this thing up here. Maybe we can advance the thingy, the hoogie widget. It's the metaphysical term for PowerPoint. So I found this in Psalms. O Lord, how manifold are your works. In your wisdom you made them all. And the earth is full of your riches. So this a proclamation from a Hebrew poet from ancient times, long thought to be King David himself, but actually they now know there were other contributors to Psalms as well. Standing in awe of the majesty of the creation of the universe itself, the manifest universe, created and inspired by the very wisdom of God itself, and the earth full of riches made manifest from the mind of God by the activity of the faculties of mind of God itself. In Genesis, we are told that the Spirit of God moved across the waters and said, "Let there be light." And there was light. We are told that we are made in the image and likeness of the Father. And yet we cannot see the Father. And by definition, God is not bound by a corporal body. So if we are made in the image and likeness of the Creator, then it must be at the level of something else that can't be seen. It must be at the level of spirit. I know this is true in my own life because I cannot yet manipulate the universe into doing my will. I have yet to been able to make down go up, to bend steel with my gaze, or to walk on water for that matter. So is this not evidence that I am a weak creature? Is this not evidence that only God is God? Is this not evidence that I really don't have anything common in my Creator, with my Creator? And yet, I am a manifestation, a creation of Spirit itself. And all of the ancient scriptures, in one way or another, either by speaking plainly or in metaphor, describe how Spirit creates by infusing itself upon itself to create itself as the manifest universe. So then all that we see, and lots of stuff we don't see, or hasn't at least been revealed yet, has been created out of Spirit making things out of itself. We've yet to discover some of these things. They're awaiting our discovery. They're awaiting the revelation of that which is already there. So I always think about how electricity was in the manifest universe when we were still living in caves. Right? Or even when the Magna Carta was signed. And yet it took hundreds of years later before it was revealed. So we've yet to discover, I know that there are truths that we have yet to discover that are already there, awaiting our discovery of it, awaiting the pearl of great price, this ultimate truth. The pearl of great price that's at work in our life today is to know that we are a reflection of the Spirit of God itself. That we human beings are a reflection of the creativity that God is. So that there is apparently within the mind of spirit a creative urge so strong that it has created creative beings to reflect the creative process as life itself. And in humans, we alone possess the ability to use this innate creative process consciously. Now, other primates can make tools. Whales and dolphins have sophisticated communication. Even plants have an innate intelligence within them that allows them to follow the sun through the course of the day. But only humans that we know about, only humans can use a creative process to the extent that we can take materials and substance within our environment and then make other stuff out of it. We can even break things down. We can split an atom. We can even create new atoms for short periods of time. So there's a lot of things that we can do, and yet we're making things with the outer world, reformulating. So it really is a miraculous, divine activity, this thing we call life. All life, human life. And yet we often take this basic awareness for granted. That as humans, we take things from our environment and we shape them and make them into other stuff. Planes, trains, automobiles, houses. And sometimes we labor long and hard hours to make these things happen. Some of us have had jobs, or maybe have jobs currently, where we work just one little piece of some larger project bigger than one person alone can do. And I'm thinking here of the old Firebird Camaro plant that was in Van Nuys, right? Or the assembly plants that were once in Burbank, in Santa Monica. Of course, they're all gone now. I guess we had a greater need for more Home Depots so that we could cram yet more Chinese-made trinkets into our houses. But that's political, and I'm not going to say anything more about that. I'm not going to say anything about minimum wage or fair labor practices. I'm not going to speak to that today. O Lord, how manifold are your works. In wisdom you made them all, and the earth is full of your riches. So our mandate as creatures made in the image and likeness of the Most High is to be creative. And we do this well. We are creative. From King David to Maya Angelou, to Eli Whitney, from Eli Whitney to Bill Gates, we have grown and evolved as innovators and creators within this realm. How manifold are our works. And yet, within many people, there is still discontent. There is a sense maybe of disconnectedness, that our basic needs are met, and yet still the nagging question, is this it? Is there nothing more? So I know that as I'm getting older, as I study with you this teaching of mind science, as we share with each other our lives, that we are looking to deploy or apply spiritual technologies in our life, and we're doing it with varying levels of effectiveness. And so it begs the question, what is the common denominator? I think what it is because we live in a world of effect. We live in the world of stuff and things, in this three-dimensional plane. We often believe then that our lives are a reflection of our outer world. that we think our lives are happening to us, when in fact they are happening through us. And until we really get that our lives will not significantly change until we bring a heightened awareness to what we think, how we respond to challenges, what we think we know about our life, what we think of the story of our life, that these are the things that we labor under. That these thoughts, or the tendency of this kind of thinking then, is what demonstrates in our outer world, to the good or the bad. So in that way then, our Labor Day becomes not a holiday, but rather a litany of suffering under the burden of our own thinking. Now, how does this happen? We know better. How does it happen? What are the warning signs? And so I was thinking about, now this is kind of a jump, but I was thinking about osmosis. Don't ask me why. I just was. I was thinking back to my 7th grade class with Mr. Ambler. And osmosis, the ability of molecules to pass through a membrane while blocking others. Now it's an interesting process because so much of what we call life is dependent upon it. Our cell membranes do it, our organs operate this way. I happen to know, because I've been studying lately, our colon works this way, that osmosis is a very basic scientific principle of which life is based on. So, the ability of molecules to pass through a membrane while blocking another. Now, you actually may do this in your daily life. So think about a tea bag. Right? The bag is the membrane that allows the tea to pass while blocking the tea leaves. But it also allows the water molecules to pass through the membrane to extract the tea from the leaves. So the term for this is called a semi-permeable membrane. Does this sound familiar? I do not even know why I remember this stuff. I can't tell you what I had for breakfast, but I can tell you about a semi-permeable membrane. So this is osmosis, that the outside influences the inside. Now in reverse osmosis, the opposite happens. The inside influences the outside. Now, how would that work in our daily spiritual practice? With our affirmations, we'll go from this, I am happy, healthy, and celebrate life at every turn, versus, am I happy, healthy, and celebrate life at every turn? One's a declaration of truth, right? The other, a declaration of doubt. I was kind of tripping on that by just swapping those two little words, I am, to am I. So, what is the word that we are casting upon the waters? Is it I am happy, healthy, and celebrate life at every turn? Or am I happy, healthy, celebrating life at every turn? Is our Labor Day one of toil and torment, or an expression of gratitude and appreciation? And if we need to shift, if we need to, because I think the truth is that it's kind of an amalgam of both, because the body temple does have stresses upon it. Let's say it's like 103 degrees at 2 in the morning and it's so freaking hot that you can't sleep. You may wake up feeling a little tired than you would normally be. Or if you have other stressors going on in the outside world, in the world of effect. So how do we work with that? Well, I like this idea that Barbara was talking about, 15 seconds to peace. Now what are those 15 seconds going to be filled with but gratitude and appreciation? That if we need to shift the way we are experiencing our life, we can start there. Gratitude and appreciation with the little things. Right? I am grateful for Mr. Carrier for the invention of refrigerated air. Right? I am grateful and appreciative for a spiritual community that supports the electric bill so that Mr. Carrier can bring me refrigerated air. Right? I am grateful and appreciative that I have a safe and secure dwelling in which I live. I am grateful and appreciative that I have food in the refrigerator, that I can turn on a tap and have drinking water that is safe to drink. That I have a vehicle that may not be a BMW, but it's safe and it gets me from A to B without breaking down. And it's relatively good on gas. So there's a lot to be. I am grateful and appreciative to have like-minded people in my life to share this journey with. I am grateful and appreciative for every person who has shown up in my life whom I appear to have been in discord with, for they have been my greatest teachers. I really don't learn much from the yes man. Yes, sir. The people that I have learned the most from have been the ones who have really called me to step into me being something greater than I am in that moment. And I get a lot of times to practice that through the course of the day. So, Ernest Holmes told us this, that only the individual who rises in secret communion with its own soul to the source of life in gratitude and love, only that individual has made a place where the divine entrance may be made. So as we practice gratitude and appreciation, what happens? We attract gratitude and appreciation. We attract to us like-minded people. We build a community of people to practice these ideas of spiritual living, not only in here, but out there. We attract them in our offices, on our building sites, on the hospital ward, within our families. And taking it back one more time to Psalms then. Blessed is the man who walks not in the counsel of the ungodly. Ungodly here being people practicing stinking thinking. Blessed is the man that walks not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor stands in the way of sinners, nor sits in the seat of the scornful. His delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law he meditates day and night. So by paying attention to what we're thinking, paying attention to what we're seeing, we are working in communion with the law itself to demonstrate a tendency of thought that then manifests ways of living that are more effective in every way. Radiant health, more abundance in the ways of prosperous living, of not only our bank accounts, but also our heart and also our creative expression. And our ability to stand in our own authenticity to express in creative ways. Because a lot of times that takes courage. It takes courage to step up and to let our voice sing, to be the poet in our own life. So that when we do this, we are like a tree planted by the rivers of water that bring forth fruit in season. That our leaf shall not wither, and whatsoever he does shall prosper. So what's true for the ancients is still true for us today. That's how it made it in the book to begin with. Right? And so, let's go within. So this idea of Labor Day. You know, I always think back to the carpenter, of course. I've always thought that, I've always appreciated genius, this person we call genius, because after all, we were both in the same union, both carpenters. So I like the idea that this teacher knew what it was to work with his hands. That the people that he had around him were not the philosophical elite, but rather common working men and women, living ordinary lives, looking for ways to invite Spirit more fully and completely, to practice ways of spiritual living. And that's what we're here to do. That's what we're here to do here today. So today, as we allow ourselves to relax into this 3-day holiday, many of us have, let's step into the idea that we're going to release any old thinking that we may be laboring under, including maybe what we even think about our job, and to step into knowing that everything that we participate in is a divine moment, a parenthesis in time, to experience and to express the creativity of the divine urge longing to express by means of our work life, our love life, our creative life as radiant health, and in rising our own thinking, we raise those around us as well.
When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of the storm is a golden sky and the sweet silver song of a lark. Walk on through the wind, walk on through the rain, though your dreams be tossed and blown.